Okay, so now while we're still on the header, I want to show you some samples of some of the ones that we did in the past, so that you see the different layouts and how your header can look like, whether it is small or big, and how you can also, we'll go back to now designing and how to design buttons like this. I particularly like this type of button. I think we've only used it for one client or two, but you can see that it's a little bit different from the general button. So let's just take a look at this. Now already you know what type of header this is, primary header. This is centered inline. But what you didn't see, or what you are seeing now, is the fact that the background of the primary header is completely transparent. That is why it is assuming the color of the header of the website, right? It is transparent. When you make the header transparent, it looks like, it makes it look like the everything flows together from the header, from the primary header, the menu to the main header. Now, if you scroll, you know, we're talking about fixed navigation. If you scroll down, the fixed navigation will pop up, which is this. It will now assume its own color that can overlay on the main header of the website. Now, for this particular website, we chose this color because this is the color that we're using for the inner pages of the website as well. So it blends perfectly. Again, when you're choosing your fixed navigation, you always want to assume a color that is close enough to the content of your website, to the background of the website. So this is it. So for this website, this is a straight, you know, header. Nothing, there's no other design at the bottom other than the color demarcation. And for this particular website, what we used was 2 columns, right? Instead of a single column, we had 2 columns, so that one picture the picture can be on the side and the text can be on the other side. But this is 2 columns. But now when you're working with 2 columns, we will get there. When you're working with 2 columns and your image is on the right, it automatically tells you that your text will come before your image on mobile, which is not what you want, right? So the next, what you will now do is you will create a double of this. You will create a double of this header and disable the second one on desktop. And then you disable one header. So you create 2 copies of your header, you disable one on desktop, and then you enable the other on mobile and tablet. So you now switch. So in that case, the one that is on the mobile, the picture here that is right here will now come to this side and will be centralized. You see this image right here is set to the right, on desktop. When it comes to the mobile, it will be centralized so that everything can be centralized. So we'll demonstrate that. And also, what you can see here, there's something hidden under this. This that you're seeing is a background, but there's a module on top of the background that you cannot see, right? The module has been made transparent so that nobody sees it, and what you want to project is just this image. We will also get there. I'm just trying to explain using this for you. This is a module in itself. This line is a module on itself, and this button is also, so you can see the over effect. We've talked about over effect, so you can see the over effect on the buttons that you have here. Now, let's take a look at another effect that should, so this is still loading. So you can see this is also over effect. It is when you over that you see the expansion button. So this is just what's it called? It's just aesthetics. It's just, design, so that when people, click on it, they see something different. So that's on this one. This particular one has its own primary header color. Nothing different from what we have done so far. And you can see that the size of the fixed navigation is a bit, the width is a bit bigger than the previous one that we saw. This is so that the logo does not shrink so much. You already know how to set the logo. So this is also a parallax effect. No, this is not a parallax. This is a normal moving website. But again, just like the other one that I showed you, so there's a hidden module.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is 2 columns now.
This is 2 columns. Yes. So, but for this one, you can see this one is a full width header.
Yes. One.
Full width, not one, not anything. It is not a standard module. It is a full width header that gives you opportunity to have 2 buttons. So, but here, just like the other one that I showed you, there's a module also hidden here that you cannot see, just so that we can see the image. And as well, you can see that the color for this header are 2. Unlike before that you have 1. So I will also show you how to achieve highlights in your headers. So this is 2, started with black and ended with pink. Now let's take a look at this effect. So you can see this.
This is still over.
This is not over effect. This is now a transition effect, right? So many other things have gone into this to make it look like this. There's a shadow, as you can see. There's a shadow in the background, and the shadow is not made on the entire row. You know that this is a 3-column row. The shadow is not on the row. The shadow is on the modules. Each of those modules has its own shadow, and that is why it appears to be overlaying on one line on top of one another. But this that is moving up and down is a transition effect, not an over effect.
Both are modules.
So I think these colors, like this red and this blue, they are gradient.
Yes, they are achieved with the gradient. But you can see how gradient is now used in module.
These both, they are modules.
This, yes. In the 3 columns.
Some are bigger than
yes.
others.
Yes. So, see, the size, the width are the same.
This module is a
3 columns.
page also. When you click on it, you are directed to.
No.
So it's just a word.
So okay, so when you click on each of these, it takes you to a specific. It takes you back to the home page because it's just information, right? But this is what I want you to notice. See, from here to here, and from here to here, they are the same size, the same width. The column is the same size column, but 3 column. What we have done here is to use spacing to move this. So to move this so that this is coming, out more. This is a negative spacing to the left.
This one.
That's the first one.
The first one is a negative spacing to the left. And what you are spacing to the left is the row. I should come again. Now, we have 3 column row. These 3 column rows are laid after one another. Like this is one single 3 column row. This is another single 3 column row. This is another single 3 column row. All laid on top of one another, right? So let's demonstrate it now. So this is the best way to. So let's create This is the standard section, right? Now what we want to do is we want a 3-column row. So we choose equal size 3-column row. Now we have equal size 3-column row, right? This is one. What we want to do now is duplicate in 3 places. But before we duplicate, I want us to set our images first.
On them.
So now when you're picking, so for example, let's go back to here. Where is it? Where's the one I was working with? Earth Medic Center. Okay, so let's take this. This is psychiatric mental disorder. Sorry, we've been working so much with the mental health hospitals, so that's, you know, in America they have a lot of mental problems. Yes, so no, you don't call, they are not mad, they are just mentally challenged. So please. So here, look at this. This is a text. This is a text module, right? This is a text module. Let's establish that first. This you're seeing right here is a text module. So let's take our text module now. So what we are looking for here is text. Right. So we pick the text and we put psychiatric mental health challenge, Abi disorder. So let's centralize it. Abi, now we have achieved this text, right? So the next thing we want to do for this our text, we want to have a background, right? So this text module, do you understand? This text module, we want to have a background. The background can also be placed on the specific column of the website. So let me demonstrate that for you. So let's do it with the column. Let me just show you how to do it with the column. You can see when you click on the row and you click on settings of the row, it gives you these 3 things. So this is the first column, which is on the left. Let's put a background to the first column. So I'm going to just use a color background because I can't be looking for images right now, but you already know how to do overlay, right? So let's just use.
What is making my own text not to show its color? It's not showing.
Let me see.
Can you see?
Yes, it is the color of the text that you're using. You have selected light text or the color of the text, so you can change the color. But let me just demonstrate this using, let's just use an image so that we are all on the same page. So let's use this image for this. So this is, as you can see, right? This is column 1. Then you go again. Once you are done with this, you click this once and you go to column 2. Set your image for column 2 as well. So let's say this is the image for column 2. Then you can see that the image is not appearing because there's no module just yet on it. So let's go to column 3 and set our image. So column 3, let's also set.
Column or row?
Yeah, column in a row. There are 3 columns in this row. So let's set an image. I can choose to use parallax effect. Again, just like the other ones. Huh? You said I should use it? Yes. It's for the one that the image, the text alone will be moving, the image will be still. Yes. So now we have Where's the image that I've selected?
You see the
So now we have all our columns now have their background. But the next thing we want to do is, before I even move the text to the other columns, I want to ensure that I have the proper sizing. Remember we talked about spacing before. So I'm going to use the inner padding now for this one. So what I want is, I want this to be 50 or maybe 100. Right? So my 100.
That is why it is bigger than the.
So can you see this now? Right? So
That means when you initially add an image, it doesn't take this size of.
no, still you are still not getting it, but we'll get there. You think that's why it's bigger. It is not why it is bigger. It is because the next column
You know,
has come up.
the next column, if you add like this pattern, you add 50, it will be smaller than.
No. So what you are not seeing here is the fact that this one, I dropped it down. Do you understand? I dropped this down and brought this one up.
Yeah, you can use it with the click or.
You can use it with a click. But this is pushed up using the margin spacing. Right? I pushed it up and I dropped this down using the margin spacing. So let's just demonstrate that. So here, it's still not big enough for me, so I want to use maybe, no, 200 is too much. Let's say I want to use 120 or 150. 150 is too much. 130. So let's say I have my 130 now. This is it. The next thing I want to do is, I want to now bring all of this. What I'm bringing here is the module, the text.
All these pictures and your own pictures.
Yes, they are the pictures that I've put on the background.
Only different columns.
Do you understand?
You should choose different backgrounds.
You know I chose different background for each column.
Yeah.
So when it wasn't appearing because there was no module on it just yet. But now that there's a module on it,
Yeah, but we can do it after that.
yes, you can.
Imagine.
Now that there's a module on it, it's now.
I'm
No.
not doing that.
No.
I was doing wrong. The opposite of what you're saying as well.
So the next thing I want to do for this is, look at this. So let's take a look at this. They are all joined together. Right? So what I want to do is I want to make them come together. So I go to my row settings again and I go to design and I say sizing. I say I'm using custom gutter width. Gutter width means this space in between. That's the gutter. So it is set at 3 now. If I set it at 2, you can see that it is reducing. If I set it at 3, it is all merged together. And of course, you know how to do your overlay, right?
Yeah.
So this is if you're working with the row, right? So let's make this the other way around. And now remove all the background in the rows.
I'll put another background.
So now I want to remove all the background in my rows and I want to put the background under my text. That's the module. Do you understand? I've shown you one way, so I'm doing two things at the same time.
Yes.
If you want to work just with the row, I'm showing you how you just put the background straight on the row. So I'm going to now remove all the background from this text, from all the columns, and I'm going to put the background under the text. So now I have this, right? This is what I have. So now what I want to do is I want to put a background under this. So let me see, what did I use before?
Before you put the background
Under the column, but now I'm showing you how to put it under, yes. So now it is under the text, but I want.
What is the difference when it's under the column?
Okay, so under the text, under the column, when I move anything, it doesn't, the image does not move with the module. But when your module has a background and you move that module, the background moves with the text. Do you understand?
I thought parallax is supposed to be the background, not to move.
We're not using parallax right now. So let's put an overlay on this. Let's put, you already know how to use the overlay function. That's the gradient. You already know how to use it, so I'm not going to bother so much about it. But let's just, so this time I'm using black.
On this image.
On this, yes. So that's what I want to use. I want to use a black. And I want to make it radial. And I want to place it on top of my background image, right? Mm-hmm. So it is on top of my background image. What I need to do now is go to the design of my text. As you can see, if I hover on text, it is not showing any blue line because the text is not active. But if I hover on heading, it's telling me that the text that I have in here is a heading. So to now get the specific heading, I will now need to click, and so it's telling me that heading 3 is active. So what I want to do with my heading 3 is, first, maybe I want to increase the size, right? Maybe. If I want to increase the size, if I want to reduce the size, that's okay. Maybe I want to do a spacing. As you can see, we did the spacing for top and bottom, but we didn't do spacing for side. And that is why, yes.
Hey, sorry to pick you back. But you know, I'm thinking of my website. If I'll do something like this, just like maybe hoodies, joggers, and naming them separately. Can I like add pictures under the hoodies and dresser? Like this secretary mental health. So if I have hoodie and my head as the text, then can I have images under?
Yes, just the same way we're having it here. So what I want to do now is to give padding to the side as well, so that it's right in the middle. So what I'm doing is, maybe I'm using 30 here and I'm using 30 here. So I have that. The next thing I want to do is my heading text. I want to change the color to something that is visible. So let's say white. But the white maybe is too loud. I don't want something as loud as this. So if you have a color that is too loud and you want to tone it down, this is also where you change colors, right? So, and I said I was going to show you how to have two colors, right, in a text. So let's do that now. You can see that I have this color, right, as white. And I have this open. Remember, this box is open. If you don't have this box open, you cannot do what I want to do now. It will keep pushing you back and forth. So this settings box is open.
4 cardinal points.
This one is right here on the side. And so what I want to do is, I want to come here and let's say I just want to select this. It will bring this bubble, and then I'll pick a color. So I have this.
You have to go to the text first.
I like it.
So you go to the text first. Let's do it now. You go to this text, you click on the settings. Once it is open, why we say open it is because if you don't open it and you try to highlight, it will move around, it will just keep going. Do you understand? Okay, so let's say I want to write this. So sometimes it will show like this. Other times when you are designing, By the time you start designing, you'll see what I'm saying. It will just move and it can take you away. That was what happened to you when the thing said, when you had that DV error.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will encounter that error if this box is not open and you're trying to do, So these are just tricks that I've found over the years that helps me not give me headache. So I have this color now. So this is mental health, whatever. So let's go to the background of this. So let me just delete this and just go over.
Do you click before you drag or you just drag? Do you click before you drag or you just drag?
So what I did was, because I want to duplicate this, so let me do it again. Because I want to duplicate.
You click on
So,
this.
yeah, so you now, no, I don't need to. This is the drag button. This one right here. This is what helps you drag. So you just pick it and drop.
So the one beneath came up.
Yes. And then you drop. It's getting confusing. Sorry. So you can see, we have this now. So let's change the background for this. Background to, let's say, white. So if I'm changing the background to white, it means that I'm deleting. So every point in time, if you have a gradient or you have an image in the background, the gradient and the image will override whatever primary background you have. So if you want to have a primary background, you have to delete those first. You can see I've deleted the image, but the gradient is still overriding it. So the next thing I do is also take away the gradient. And now what I do here is I want to change this color to something that can be seen. Maybe a red or something, or a black, or...
You want to use a black, white background?
Yes. So now, we're a step closer to this, right? What we need to do now is to have shadows, because this has shadows. So you come here. Let's start with this model. You click on settings, you go to design, you go to box shadows, and then you put a shadow. The type of shadow that you want, how big you want the shadow to be. So let's say this is the shadow that I want, or let's say this is the shadow that I want, and I want to increase the shadow. You can see if I increase this, it's coming to this side. If I go like this, it's going over. If I go like this, it's moving it up. If I go like this, it is, So, but what I want is the blur strength. You can see the blur strength here. It is light. It is barely showing, right? The blur is barely showing. So that is the blur strength that I want to now, The shadow spread will tell you how wide you want the shadow to spread. So let's say I want the shadow to spread this way. And I want this to be like this. And the strength is currently at 60. I don't want it to be this dark. I don't want everybody to know that I have a shadow. So it is now at 80%. That's the blur strength. So you already have your blur strength, you have all of this. The next thing that you want to do is you can decide that you want to change your blur color, right? You don't want it to be gray. Standard, customarily, Divi will make it gray. But you can decide to say, I don't want it to be gray. I want it to be close to maybe something like this. You can see the difference. It is not gray. It is inching towards something like purple, or thereabouts. So we have this. So you do the same thing.
What is going on the second image? It's entries.
Yes, that's the blur strength.
Okay.
So if you want to, that's what I was explaining to you. That's the blur spread. So if you want the blur, so let's see box shadow. This is the blur that you're using, right? If you want it, so let's go over it again. Blur shadow spread. You can see I want it to be like this, right? Maybe I want it to be like this. I want the strength to be, if you go towards the right, it fades out a little bit. If you go towards the left, it becomes stronger. But now, vertical position, vertical, horizontal. If I want the horizontal position to be towards the right, for example, I will inch it towards the right, and you can see that it's leaving here and moving towards the right. If I want it to the left, it comes over to the left. If I want it to be central, I put it at 0, and I also put this at 0. Or I can move this and put it at 0. So now you have your blur strength. The next thing, you do the same for all the other ones so that it appears to be overlaying on one another. Once you are done with that, duplicate. So the next thing, okay, before I move on, look at this. You can see that they are close to one another, both on top and below. They are packed tightly together, right? So to achieve that, what you do is that you eliminate the padding in the row. You eliminate the padding in the row, top and bottom, eliminated, right? So we have this. So now let's create 2 more. Now, we now have these 3 images, right? But you know that it is different things from here. So you'll be the one. You can see we used plain, plain, plain. Depending, it is your design, your choice. You have every. So let's go to this. Now, this is. Can you see it now?
It's in the negative.
I moved it to the side. So let's see. Okay. So let's see the spacing. You can see negative 40 to the left, negative 40.
We can just go and insert it ourselves inside the.
You can do that. So this, I want this, but you can see that here, if I want this one to come this way, I will also drag this forward, right? And then this is, so this is what? Negative to the right. Now you have that. So let's now take a look at here. I said I dropped this.
Yeah.
So you drop this, but in dropping this, it is positive. It is not negative because you're dropping this. So I dropped this, right? And I also dropped this. The same amount of, so it's at your discretion. But you can see, what did it do to this one?
Down left.
So what do you do?
Go down.
Yes. So, but when it is overlapping, it is negative top, right? Negative top when it is dropping. So I also want to move this up. But you see what I am moving?